Hey everybody, Charlie from Swift Contractors Corner. Today is October 19th, 2021. And we're here with your live weekly update. We're talking about the fuel surcharge report. We're going to talk about being prepared for winter today. Yeah, just kind of grooving out, and probably won't be a long show. Probably just touch on this stuff and see if we can't get people maybe a little more prepared. If you guys have any tips for being prepared for winter, that would be awesome. Feel free to share those in the chat. And yeah, so yeah, another Tuesday. We made it through another week. It was kind of a rough week for me. I don't know about you guys. Rough week for me, really not so rough, honestly. I mean, let's face it, I'm not in snow and ice and all that crazy stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. If you guys are here, do us a favor, say hey, let us know you're here. That's always awesome. If you're catching this on the replay, that's cool too. Feel free to leave comments, questions, anything like that, and we'll get to them on the replays as well. We'll catch you on the Facebook groups, on the YouTube channel, wherever you want. You want to send us messages, send me a private message, that's fine too. Trucker Doc, glad to see you. Ken Kelly, good to see you too, buddy. Faithful, always faithful. Ken Kelly, he's always in there. I love that guy. So yeah, guys. So we're gonna get into today's fuel surcharge report. Got a couple people tuned in now. We'll just go ahead and dive into it, and I'll touch back on it in a little bit. Try not to make today's show too long. Let me switch over here. So fuel prices went up this week. I know you guys know that it makes me happy when that happens, and I kind of dig it. So let's get into it. The national fuel cost this week went up 0.085 to 3.671. I dig it. I like it. I don't know. Some people don't like it. I like it. I mean, more fuel surcharge. West Coast Pad 5 went up 0.093 to $4 or 4. Gosh, I can't talk, guys. 4.226. Oh yeah, by the way, Jeff's not here today. He's out there running those roads up trying to get across Wyoming. Oh my gosh. You guys can have that stuff. If it's above I-40, I'm not with it. Anyhow, the fuel surcharge this week is 0.394. It's up a penny and a half, a little over a penny and a half from last week. The West Coast fuel surcharge is 0.08. Stayed the same as last week. So more money. That's my whole thought on this. Drive slower, make more. I'm just saying. So yeah, there you go. That's our fuel surcharge stuff. Hope that helps you guys out. We make sure we get it out there every Tuesday. We get the reports on Monday, and since we do our videos Tuesday, we put it out then. It'll come across your Qualcomm probably tomorrow sometime or late today. Usually doesn't come out today, but yeah. Anyhow, hey, so what we're going to talk about this week is being prepared. I know, Matt. Matt, good to see you too, buddy. Matt, we had on last week talking about the Northeast Percentage Program. Got a lot of good comments on that. I appreciate you, Matt, for chiming in on that, helping us out. All right, so this week we're going to talk about being prepared for winter. It's nothing I prepared formally. Gosh, it's like just marbles in my mouth. Anyhow, so what we're going to do is, if you guys can help me out and chime in, that would be awesome. What sort of things do you think we need to have on the truck? Good afternoon to you, brother. It just says Facebook user, so I don't know who you are. Hey, look, check this out. Watch this. Watch. Go here to this link for me, and then we'll be able to see you. Check that out. chat.restream.io/FB. Let it see your Facebook stuff. It's not going to do anything else. It just allows your name to be posted in the chat so we can see who we're talking to when you comment. Otherwise, I just feel silly saying, hey, Facebook user, good to see you. And then we get like 19 of them or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know which one's which anymore. Anyhow, yeah. So candles are interesting. You would. So Matt Wright threw up their candles. So candles are an interesting thing. You'd have to be real careful with that. I can see the usefulness of them for sure, but definitely be very careful with having an open flame in your truck. I can dig it. Trucker Doc threw out their water and extra food supplies. To expound on that, I like that word, expound. As far as food supplies go, keep in mind, guys, running Crest, Wyoming, things like that. I mean, there's times where we've seen it shut down. Hey, Dennis, there you go. Oh, that's awesome. Appreciate you, buddy. When there's times out there on in Wyoming, cross I-80, when it goes completely nuts, and they could shut down the road for a couple days, and some of us don't keep a ton of food on the truck. But come winter and this crazy mess, that's why I avoid that whole what I call Canada, which is everything above I-40. But keep in mind, you need to have some non-perishable foods and lots of water. And so here's a funny thing that happened one time to me. I actually had a case of water that I stored under my bunk. And because it was under the bunk, it wasn't super protected from the cold. And I went to go get some of that water out one day. And do you know that whole it was like a 36 pack of bottled water, frozen solid. I was like, oh, man. But yeah, so something someone told me on one of the Facebook groups earlier, I believe it was Mike Ferris that threw the comment up there. He said that he goes to Harbor Freight and he grabs like the cheap moving blankets. And I thought that was an interesting thing. He will wrap his fuel tanks with it, which is probably going to help out, So, and on that note, anti-gel, guys, if you're running in those places where you're going to be, locked down and in that super cold stuff, man, anti-gel could save your butt, especially if for some whatever reason you're not idling your truck, man, get it. Heat packets for boots and gloves. Hey, that's actually good. I dig that stuff. Those things are awesome. And yeah, I dig it, man. There's nothing like having those little heater packs in your gloves or your socks, Keep that chill just off of you. A couple other things you might want to think about are, some guys aren't super keen on them. They have different arguments about them, but the tire socks. Tire socks are great, in my opinion. They're quick and easy to throw on, get you out of a pinch. As long as you're not driving on asphalt. If you're out there on the ice pack or snow pack, those socks are great. You're not going to chew them up too bad. And really, you're not looking to drive miles and miles and miles on them, I hope. Gone are the days where we spend all day on chains. The thing now is, use those chains or tire socks to get you someplace safe, someplace where you can be out of harm's way, maybe with access to food or water or things like that, if possible, Yeah, Ken, I agree with you. It's funny. I haven't had to use them because I don't really do that cold stuff anymore. I am thinking about picking up a set just for those rare occasions that Rosie and I do pop out there in the real world and do like, some of you guys do and actually run those northern states in the winter. Oh man, I just dread it. But even Rosie and I keep a big box in the truck. I got like my big Carhartt freezer suit in there, and we've got various levels of like the Cabela's winter cold weather gear. And depending on how cold it is, depends on which layer we put on. And we try to keep that stuff around. A good pair of boots to keep your feet warm, really good gloves, a hat. Some of us need a little more protection up here than others, Some of us got that wild mane going on, and that's cool. I guess that'll help. But maybe like a good beanie, something like that, and always a good jacket. Even with me running down here in these southern states, especially in the southeast, it dips every now and then into the 20s or something like that. Last year was kind of crazy when we had that polar vortex that came and wiped out the world, shut down the planet. I thought, at least that's what it felt like to me. I was actually in Texas in minus 10 degrees down near Houston. That was ridiculous. And I oddly enough, I was not totally prepared for that, and usually I am, but I just did not anticipate getting that bad. So maybe you store a big plastic box, a big tote or something, and keep that winter stuff in there just in case. Even if you're one of these guys that runs I-40, I-10 back and forth and never goes above that. Just remember that polar vortex last year was something else, and it stretched all the way down to the Gulf, guys, and it was no joke. And Rosie and I thought, oh, we'll be good. We have a reserved spot at a truck stop in Houston, and we'll have bathrooms and food and all that kind of stuff. We had a little bit of a food supply on the truck, lots of water. Yeah, first night, truck stop shut down, closed the doors, locked it up, wouldn't let anybody in. Collapsible shovel. That is a great one. Like old you Army guys, military guys know that old E-tool. I have something similar that I keep in my side box. And look, like I said, I don't even run in these places where it gets cold. But hey, sometimes I run in a sandy place that I need to dig out or something like that. That's happened. True story. And those little folding shovels, man, they can be a lifesaver for real. Good call, Matt. I dig it. And so that kind of stuff. But definitely, the food. You need to be able to keep yourself fed. Something to keep in mind. A lot of guys figure, we're out here, we're driving slow on these winter roads. I mean, I've spent 2 days trying to drive across Wyoming at times. 5-10 miles an hour for an entire shift. And what a lot of people don't understand, one of the things they don't think about is the fact that that's it's it can be white knuckling, man. You tense up, you're slipping, you're sliding, you're kind of on edge. And what a lot of people don't understand is that really can kind of drain you physically, emotionally, even mentally. And they figure, well, I'm only doing 10 miles an hour or whatever, whatever speed it is that you're driving, it shouldn't be that bad. But at the end of those days, for any of you who are new to this, things like that, you know, I'm here to tell you those days can be more tiring than those days you're out running clear empty roads. And it's simply because you spend the whole day tensed up, and even after the road's clear and it starts to get a little dark, you're like, oh, you're still kind of on edge after seeing all that crazy mess that you saw for the day, and that sort of thing. And keep in mind, it's going to cause more fatigue, and you got to be able to get rest. And what's part of getting rest? Well, you need to stay well fed. You need to stay well hydrated, guys. Um, you need to stay warm. Okay. Anti-gel. Rosie was telling me anti-gel earlier. Don't forget anti-gel. And that's definitely right. And I know Rosie's out there. Hi, baby. I know you're watching. Anyhow. And dry food doesn't freeze if you break down. Look at that. And need to use those candles for heat. Well, while you wait for roadside. Hey, okay, I could see that, Matt, and that's legit. I just again, please be careful, guys. If you have an open flame inside your truck, keep a window cracked so you have a little fresh air going. Be mindful of what's going on. If you've got those weed burner type trucks, awesome. In fact, probably most of you do. I got a big stack. One of the things I actually have to worry about with my truck is yeah, exactly. Open the sleeper vents. That's what I was kind of getting at, so that you're getting a little bit of fresh air in there. Carbon monoxide and things like that can get you. You don't even know it till it's too late. You go to sleep and you just don't wake up, guys. Best case, it gets to you. You get a nasty headache, and I can tell you that carbon monoxide headache is something that's going to hold on to you for a day or two. Had a truck at one time way back when that we had an exhaust leak underneath the cab, and the older trucks, the vent system, the fresh air vent system is a little wonky on them because they figured the exhaust stack is going up high, and you don't need to worry about it. There she is. Look at her. There she is. I love that woman right there. And anyhow, but I had an exhaust leak under the truck, and I started kind of feeling a little fuzzy, a little worried. I was like, what the hell's going on? Started getting a headache and really didn't have a reason for it. Most of my headaches come from sinuses. I got terrible sinuses. Anyhow, and so I started wondering, and I was like, well, I kind of feel a little fuzzy and a little more tired than normal. And so I did that magic capillary refill test, right? And that color should come back into your nail pretty quick. You pinch it, put a little pressure on it, and that color should come back. And what I noticed was that capillary refill, as it's called, wasn't happening as quick as it should have, which of course kind of worried me a little bit. And I'm not out here looking in a mirror because I'm not trying to see all this honestly. I could do without, but whatever. So I looked in the mirror and noticed my lips were slightly discolored, and I thought, oh hell, that's not good. And those are early signs of carbon monoxide poisoning happening. And of course, we shut down the truck. And this wasn't even during the winter. It wasn't even real bad. It was a little chilly outside. And I realized, oh, heck, I got some crap going on. And, we shut down the truck, figured out that we had an exhaust leak. I kind of put all the symptoms together and noticed, early that I had smelt a little bit of exhaust. Didn't really think anything of it. Finally put it all together and thought, man, I could have went to bed and just never woke up. And that's some scary stuff. So, but the newer trucks have venting systems that are a little bit different. They actually are made to not draw in that exhaust so much. So, not quite the concern from the exhaust side, but you do need to worry about that carbon monoxide poisoning, guys. So, you could even throw a little carbon monoxide detector in your truck. Wouldn't be a bad thing. Throw it up on top of one of your cabinets or something like that. I mean, I feel like, God, that's actually a good idea. I may have to throw one up in mine now that I thought about it. Makes perfect sense. Mount it up there on the top of one of my cabinets and keep it going. Facebook user, don't know who you are, but thank you for that. Spare fuel filters, definitely pop in the shop, grab you some. If you're a company driver, you might want to ask them for some. And if you don't know how to change them, it might not be a bad thing to learn how to do. You owner operators, if you don't know how to change them, if you're running a Dabco, we have a video on the channel about it. Pretty easy to do. Doesn't take any time at all. And they're super easy to do. Yep. Extra socks, extra clothes, lots of clothes, guys. And something people don't think about, and this was a big thing in the military as well, is keeping your socks dry. It may be cold outside, but you're wearing a good pair of boots and your feet get sweaty. Well, after time, those sweaty socks, if for some reason your feet do start getting cold with those sweaty socks, that could actually cause a frostbite situation. And Lord knows that's not what any of us need. Extra boots, Eric Bradley. Good call there. And you are definitely right. That's definitely something we need to have out there. I keep a good pair of I bought a couple of nice pairs of boots from Cabela's that are hiking cold weather type boots. I break that stuff out, like I said, with my big old Cabela's, or not my Cabela's, my Carhartt freezer suit. That, by the way, I bought that during the summer. Saved $100 on that thing. Normally they were like $250, and I can wear that thing out in Wyoming in -60 with the wind blowing. And I'm telling you, I sweat in that thing. It is ridiculously warm. Bag of sand and kitty litter. That's right, Matt. You threw the kitty litter, or Ken Kelly threw the kitty litter up earlier, and I apologize. I missed that one, buddy. But kitty litter and a bag of sand, definitely, throw those in those side boxes. I know we're cramming a bunch of stuff in those side boxes, but this is the time of year you really should be worried about this stuff. Well, maybe not worried, but definitely mindful of. You just never know when this stuff's going to happen, guys. The Swift terminals have these little ice cleats, little spike deals you strap on your shoes. If you don't have any of those to keep you from busting your head on the ground, I would highly recommend picking some up. A lot of the terminals are just given to you for free. Just get with your terminal, and if they don't have them, ask them. How do I get them? I heard that they're out there and they're available. Definitely get out there and ask for those things. Those things are lifesavers, seriously, because let's face it, some of us aren't as mindful as we should be. When we're walking around, climbing in and out of the truck, those spikes can save you a lot of downtime, which is going to cost you a lot of money because you fell and you busted your melon. And Lord knows, none of us want that, guys. We're out here trying to make some money and make a living and run a better business. Well, part of running that better business is making sure you're staying safe, you're keeping your equipment up, and you're keeping yourself up. Be mindful of your health, guys. Your health is number one here. If you don't Eric Barnum, buddy, there you are. Man, I'm glad you made it. And a full face mask, that's a good one too. I dig those things, Matt. Good to see Eric. Glad you made it, buddy, and I hope we're getting some good info out here for everyone. Extra gloves. Did I touch that one? I think I did, but I'm gonna throw it up again just in case. I appreciate you guys being here and sharing time with us today, man. I really dig the input. I figure that through us working together and sharing tips and tricks and things like that, we can help each other stay safe, stay healthy, and more profitable. Um, and that's really what we're all about here, guys. We just want to make sure we're not out here kind of harping. I know sometimes it seems like we're harping on stuff, and that's not what we want to do. We're just trying to stress the fact that these things are going to affect you monetarily, um, you know, and they can hurt your business. Dennis Lewis definitely says antifreeze, oil, windshield washer fluid, the 32 below. Yep, yep, yep. You are dead on. I like the. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of a brand whore here, but I really like the RainX product for the winter. The orange one, I love that stuff. When if there's any hope of me going anywhere, I definitely use that stuff from RainX. Extra wipers and washer fluid, definitely. Matt Wright threw that up there. Yep. And the Facebook user said, watch the windshield wiper fluid that you buy. You really need to make sure it's that super low temperature stuff. And a good way to do that is goes back to Matt here. You can actually mix a little of that rubbing alcohol into your washer fluid, and that will actually help that as well. And it'll help keep your airlines from freezing. You can use it to unfreeze brakes instead of getting out there and pounding on stuff. Sometimes you pour a little of that rubbing alcohol, you know, it'll help eat through that stuff. That's all good stuff, guys. Man, keep it coming. You guys are on fire today. I dig it. See, this is what it's about, guys. Our community doing these types of things, working together, trying to keep us all together. I'm hoping we have some company drivers out here and people that aren't even drivers that maybe they're learning something or watching this video later on, and maybe they'll learn something because a lot of this stuff goes really whether you're driving a commercial vehicle or you're just traveling across country or heck, just driving from home to work in those states that get so crazy. And it looks like this year's going to be pretty crazy. So I'm glad I'm staying down here in the South for the most part. I do want to make a run up to the Northwest and see how that's going. And I got some family to go check on, and I got some work that I want to get done. Yep, here's another good one. Ken Kelly, stop and clean those headlights and trailer lights off as often as needed, which sometimes is a lot. Like you said, some of these LED lights aren't getting warm enough to melt that stuff. Back in the day when we were using regular light bulbs, incandescent type bulbs, or the halogens and that sort of thing, that those they would heat up and keep those lights visible. You get in those really bad storms, the blowing snow and just driving on snow in general when it's powdery and soft like that. It'll blow up behind you, cake in your tail lights, and next thing you know, you're just a white wall that people behind you can't even see. They just think you're part of the white wall they're driving into. And then you get to know them real good as they smack in the back of you. I mean, granted, slow down. You shouldn't put yourself in that situation, but things happen. Oh God, those are the worst wrecks that happen, I swear. Yeah, cell phone battery packs. These things are amazing. If you guys don't have one, I highly recommend them. The cost of these things have come down. They'll run your laptop sometimes, depending on what kind of tablet or something like that. Um, you're charging your cell phone. I mean, you can get 7, 8, 10, 20 charges out of some of these things, and they're super compact. I mean, you just charge that thing up, and set it in a drawer or a cabinet somewhere. And gosh, man, yeah, they will do some amazing things. So Facebook user, I don't know who you are. Sorry, I keep calling Facebook users Facebook users, but that's what it says. Backing up a foot or two will pop those brakes loose without beating on them. You're right. Something else to think about, and something I used to do when I was running in those cold places with the ice and all that. After you stop for the night and your tires are still warm and all that kind of stuff, right? What'll tend to happen is you'll get that heat still coming off your tires, and what it'll do is it'll melt the snow underneath your tires, right? And what you'll end up with is this super polished slick spot underneath your tires. So after you've been there a little while, do yourself a favor, half hour, an hour, uh, roll your truck back or forward a foot or so, and get off that smooth polished spot you were on, and get yourself back on a crunchy spot, because when you go to get moving in the morning, you're not going to be already starting on a completely shaped, smooth, polished area for your tires that they're sitting. It almost becomes like this cradle that they just sit there and spin in, and then you're just like, oh man, there's nothing worse than having to throw chains on to get out of a parking spot. First thing when you wake up in the morning, you're like, holy hell, this is not great. Yeah, cash. Uh, Dennis, definitely have a little cash in your pocket, guys, because these electronics sometimes go down. And look, I've been at places where they're like, look, we can't really run any sales right now because our POS is down, but we can calculate the price of this product. And if you'd like to pay cash for it, let's do it that way. Great. That's definitely a help. Yeah. Like Eric said, when we were talking about the battery packs, they're super great for charging batteries, things like that. You know, you guys, if you get in these super cold areas, I know some of you guys, are real strict about idling. I know others just don't idle. They don't ever turn their trucks off. And sometimes I'm that guy too. Other times, I like to turn this truck off and enjoy the cooler weather. I mean, I'm one of those guys that, it's down there in the 30s. I like to turn the truck off and enjoy the cool air. And, since Rosie and I are on the truck together, it makes for good snuggle time. But, maybe you don't have someone to snuggle with. I'm just saying, if you got that bearded dude next to you and you're a bearded dude, maybe you don't want to spoon with that dude. I get it, whatever. Hey, whatever you want to do, you do. It's your world. But hey, so don't be afraid to idle that truck if you need to. If idling your truck is affecting your bottom line too much, then reach out to us and maybe we can help you do a little bit better on that side too. Because clearly there's something we could help you do that'll help you offset that extra cost of the long idles. Keep in mind that idling is going to cause more problems with your truck. These trucks do not like idling, guys. You know this. Folks like Eric and I, we have older trucks. Eric's rocking a 2005 Freightliner with a cat in it. And, that idle isn't quite as bad for us. We don't have the DPF systems and that sort of thing. Uh, we do have the EGR. Well, he doesn't because he's got a cat. He's got cat's version of that. And, but it's a little less problematic for us because we've got these older trucks with less emission stuff on it. But it is what it is. I mean, you got to learn to operate with what you got, make the best of it, keep yourself safe and warm. If you guys have any more stuff to throw up, please, by all means, don't stop. This is great. We're getting some good stuff on here. Yep. Keep an eye on those hoses, like Ken Kelly's saying here. Keep an eye on your hoses. Uh, the contacts, and they contract. I can't talk. I can't read. Yeah, the hoses will contract because of the cold. They shrink. Everything shrinks when it gets cold, it seems. The metal, rubber, things like that, plastic expands and contracts as the heat goes up and down, and they will. They'll get brittle and snap in weird places. Extra clamps, guys. That's good. Make sure do a good visual inspection, and now's the time. If you haven't already done it, you guys need to go through this and really kind of dig through your trucks while you have some time before you're stuck out there on the top of Elk Mountain with no cell signal, and you know what I mean. Wind's blowing 70 miles an hour. The snow's coming up off the ground and out of the sky and out of the truck next to you, and you can't see anything. And now you're like, well, what the heck's going on? I don't even know what's broken right now. Um, do a good inspection of your batteries, guys. I do this once a year. I take all my batteries out, clean terminals. I typically do it in towards the end of the summer, or that sort of time frame when it's not crazy out and the winter's not completely crazy. Clean all my terminal ends, make sure they're tight. I reseal them with this magical red terminal sealer stuff. Helps keep the corrosion down. Inspect those batteries, make sure they're not starting to look like a guppy. It's a sign of bad things happening. Keep your nose out for that rotten egg smell. That's a sign of batteries going bad. Um, in the cold, you really need good batteries. If you're shutting the truck off or anything like that, you're going to want to make sure that you've got really good batteries in there that can, get you started in that super cold place. Eric Bradley said, recommends only setting the trailer brakes if necessary so they don't freeze. So the brakes on your truck don't freeze. And yeah, yeah, I can dig that. I used to do that. And then, there was actually another way. Uh, just I want to stress a little safety here. Um, make sure those trailer brakes are good and they're adjusted right, that sort of thing. If you're parked in a weird spot, sitting on a hill, look, be careful. You know, I use wheel chocks. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's been a couple places where I've chalked the hell out of some tires and left the brakes unset. I know that's not gonna go over well with some, but it's one of those things you had to do at a certain time, and it was just ridiculous. I couldn't keep these brakes from freezing, and they were it was just one of those times. And I don't highly recommend that, but hey, tire chocks I keep on my truck. I'm just saying they're in my side box. What do we got here? Facebook users shift weight to heavier on the drive tires versus trailer tires. You'll get better traction. I personally doesn't sound like a horrible thing. I like to try and keep it even as I can. Um, go easy on those brakes. Oh, you guys with these automatics, which is most of you out there, if you're not comfortable with shifting your truck into manual speeds and things like that using your manual gears, you really need to get out there and practice that and make sure you know how to do it well so that you don't have to really think about it when you're out there in one of those tough struggling locations, guys. You going down these hills with these automatics with some of them is, I've heard some pretty terrible stories. I don't own an automatic. I haven't really driven one more than a few weeks at a time, and it was not during the winter. But I've heard some really bad horror stories about that. Getting shifted into the right gear before you need to be in that gear is what you need to do. Get that engine helping and slowing you down these hills, and use those brakes as you need them. Don't ride them. Don't ride those brakes. You don't want to heat them up and lose them, because Lord knows that's just a bad day, especially once it starts freezing and icing, and you're toast, guys, and that's just horrible. Yep, tire socks we touched on earlier, and definitely, I'm a fan. Even though it's funny, I still haven't used them, but everything I watch and see, they're just amazing. Um, there you go. Facebook user dropping lower gears in manual and shut off your truck for an hour or so before setting the brakes. Yep, 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 yep. Keep that truck from moving, and it'll keep you from. Wow, totally lost my train. Yeah, shutting off the truck. So if I don't know that you necessarily have to. Well, I see what you're saying. Shut off the truck and let it sit there so you don't have to set the brakes. Yeah, I dig it. I can see how that's would be a benefit thing. I dig it. Heck yeah. So is there anything you guys can think of that could help and benefit some folks out here? I know we're getting a little long. We're about 34 minutes. And by the way, if you guys have any questions about anything else, by all means, feel free to throw them up, or reach out to Jeff or myself on Facebook. Um, and we'd be happy to answer any questions there. We do have the Swift Contractors Corner Facebook page. It's open to the public. We have the Swift Contractors Corner Facebook group, which is a closed private group. It's only open to those who are actually contracted at Swift with verifiable owner operator codes. The Swift Drivers Family and Employees group is also a good place to get some information. um, by all means, feel free to reach out to us there. Throw comments up on the YouTube channel here. We do view them. We check them out. We try to answer all of them. Every now and then I'll miss one, and I apologize for if I've ever missed one of your comments. I do try to answer every one of those comments that we get on Facebook and in Facebook and YouTube. There we go. Good Lord. And we don't want you to feel like your questions are going unanswered. So that's one of our big things, is to make sure we answer every question we get. We don't feel like there's any dumb ones. Every now and then we'll get one that makes us roll our eyes, but that's okay. That's okay. You know what? If you don't know, you don't know, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and that can be a problem. That can be dangerous. It can be costly. So by all means, ask questions. Um, Trust but verify. People tell you do this, do that. Okay, that sounds great. Make sure you try it out and you find verification that's something that might really be a good idea for you. That's a perfect point, Ken. If you have any doubt about driving in bad weather, don't. There's no glory in being a hero with this job. That is absolutely right. There is no load worth you dying over or killing someone else over, or smashing your truck up and blowing your ability to you know provide for you and your family and those who depend on you. Um, don't we don't have to do that. I was on an account way back when where the I-80 was open. Man, they expected us to drive, and if it was 5 miles an hour and we were team driving and it took 2 full shifts to get across Wyoming, that's what we did. Swift is definitely not that way these days. And if you're worried about it, send that Mac 22, explain what's going on. The winter weather is bad, the road conditions are horrible, what have you. Communicate, guys. Communicate, and you are good. They are going to cover you. It's really important to make that sure that communication is there. Check your cross links to chains. Make sure you have bungee cords. Right. If you don't know how to chain, guys, um, while you're out there on the side of the road at the bottom of a hill is not the place to learn. All right. Um, yeah, you can find some spots where there's people out there chaining up your truck. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm sure they do a fine job, but yeah, I don't dig it. I'm not paying anyone to chain up my truck. I want to know that what's done is done by me and done properly. I can tell you that in the past few years that I did drive up there and was driving on chains for long distances and things like that, that I have never lost a set of chains. I've worn a couple sets out, and I used to keep those big chain tools, and I used to keep extra cross links, and I would repair my own chains and get on down the road. And but yeah, learn how to put chains on, guys. If you don't already know how to do it, you need to learn. Find someone. Look, find somebody to teach you. It's a valuable skill for us, and it can get you out of some pretty hairy spots. I'm not saying get out there and run the roads on chains, doing 40 miles an hour, what have you. Use them to get out of where you are to get yourself to a safe spot. Exactly, Eric. When we touched on this earlier, getting enough rest, guys, because of the fact that while you're driving this stuff, it can really fatigue you, and it'll fatigue you much more than normal driving, and you won't even realize what's happening. You're like, oh, like I said, I'm driving 10 miles an hour. This is easy, and yet you're gripping that wheel tight. Your whole body is tense, and it can really cause some physical manifestations later on. And if you're like I was, and I used to spend the entire winter running from uh, Kent, Washington to Sydney, Nebraska, or to Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, running Cabela's, and that's all we lived on, that I-80, I-90 corridors, and man, I'm telling you, it will eat you up. If you get too tired, by all means, find a safe place, get somewhere safe, explain what's going on. Again, communicate. You guys, let them know what's going on. They're not going to ding you for shutting down because the weather's bad or you're just too tired to go. Um, you know, it really is important. Like Dennis said here, chain up, shut down before you have to chain up. No point in driving on slick roads. I always check the weather and Wyoming road app before I go through I-80. 511 is available in, if not every state, damn near every state, you guys. It's in some form or another, whether it's a phone call or a phone app or things like that. By all means, man, be checking these things. If you're running up in those questionable winter areas, basically everything above I-40 in my book, and even parts of I-40 are a little sketchy at times, running through Flagstaff and all that stuff. It gets kind of hairy out there at times. I know some of you guys are like, that's nothing. Well, yeah, I've seen some pretty bad stuff, and I've run some pretty hectic stuff. I actually used to run Canada, the real Canada, up above the US border. I used to do that quite frequently. I actually enjoyed it. It was a good fun time. But they get some crazy winter stuff up there, man, and I'm not a fan of it. I did my time running those icy roads and that sort of thing, and I just don't feel the need to do it anymore. So that's why I do what I do. Um, but I've also worked a long, hard career to get to the point where I can simply not have to do that stuff, guys. The truck is paid for, my expenses are low. I try to keep my personal bills in check, so I'm not out there chasing a dollar by chasing miles or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Get to a point where you can pay that truck off if you're not really working toward it. If you're one of those guys that just keeps renting trucks or releasing trucks, hey, that's your choice. That's your business model. I get it. I understand some of the arguments. Um, I may not agree with them, but those are your decisions to make. I definitely recommend getting those trucks paid off and owning the equipment. It changes things. It really changes perspective and allows you to free up and have a little more comfort to make some decisions that you try not to make when you have those big truck payments. Um, hey, so just wanted to touch on something real quick and let you guys know I'm doing recording some video tomorrow with David Tillman. We're going to be talking about the Swift's new personal conveyance rule for company drivers. We're going to talk about the proper use as Swift and DOT are seeing it right now. They've been having some button heads with DOT over some personal conveyance uses, the way it was being used. There's a lot of people out there who are using it in ways that it's just not meant to be used. And my general rule of thumb that I've been telling people is, look, if you're having to talk yourself into it and saying, oh, I could probably get away with using PC to do this, or that, I'm here to tell you, you're probably doing something that could get you a ticket, log violation. It's 21 points to Swift for those log violations. They are extremely costly, and that is why Swift is going to start getting pulled into way stations more. We're going to see more red lights on the pre-pass and that sort of thing. And that stuff costs us money, guys. So you know what? If you have to talk yourself into it or make some sort of justification to use it, it's probably not a good idea to use it. Just use your hours and try to manage your time a little bit better, guys. But that's going. I'm going to record that tomorrow. It'll probably be up next week sometime when I go back through and I want to make sure that we edit it. David Tillman is coming from the corporate side, so I need to make sure that you know he's comfortable with everything he says because it's already happened in the past. The corporate guys get in there and they say something in a video and some lawsuit pops up and a lawyer pulls out a 10-second snippet of something, takes it out of context, and now it becomes some sort of contention in litigation. And so I don't want to put these guys in that sort of situation. So I'm going to go through and make edits. It may run straight through, it may not. I just want to make sure that, I don't want to put them in a weird situation. I'm not trying to hide anything or cover anything up. I just want to make sure that they're comfortable with the words they say and that sort of thing. So that will be a recorded thing. If you guys have questions about that, by all means, when that does go up, throw your questions up. I will get them answered. If I can't answer it and it's a David Tillman question, I promise you that I will get legit answers and straight answers from David Tillman. He's a pretty good dude. Seems like a straight shooter to me. I've been dealing with him quite a bit lately in conversations and things like that. And so I'm looking forward to tomorrow's video. I hope you guys are too. If you guys have any questions for me now, throw them up real quick. We're at 44 minutes. If not, I'm going to wrap this up. And if there's anything else you can think of that I didn't touch on, man, by all means, throw them up in the comments. If you haven't already, and I know I say it every time and it gets a little lame sometimes, I'm sorry, but it's the housekeeping stuff. hit that subscribe button. Like the videos, guys. Please go over to the YouTube channel for us, please. And if you like these videos that you've been watching and being a part of, hit that thumbs up. I know it seems like a silly thing and it may not mean a lot to you, but it does mean a lot to us in that it helps with YouTube's analytics. And what the thumbs up does is it helps them know that people are watching this, not just watching it, but finding it helpful. And they will actually serve it up to more people who may not know about the channel and what it is that we do. So we'd like to reach as many people as we can in the Swift system. There's a lot of people who don't use YouTube and things like that, or Facebook, so they don't know about us there. So if you could help us reach those guys out on the YouTube channel, that would be awesome. If you're not subscribed, please do it. We're really trying to build a good community here and be able to help you guys do better. It helps us do better too. I mean, there's absolutely selfish things involved in this as well. I benefit from it financially. I benefit by learning from you guys, because sometimes you guys throw some stuff up there that I wasn't aware of. Oh man, that's a great way to save a couple bucks, right? And so, by all means, share those thoughts, and we'll get them up there, and we'll help everybody do better. Yep. I don't know who you are, Facebook user, but I'm gonna throw that up there too, just to right before we wrap this up. Try to run days on snow or the ice roads after they plow. Exactly. I like to run days during those times. It's a little easier to see what's going on and pay a little more attention. And let's face it, our internal clocks operate a little bit better for most people during those daylight hours. And then you can get some rest when there's a little more help available during the days versus the night times and things like that, and get more rest and get on a regular schedule when you can, guys. But I think that's going to do it for us, guys. I do appreciate everyone being here. Man, the engagement was great. You guys are awesome. I dig it. I'm really looking forward to doing these. We're live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We will on some weeks have a live video on Wednesday versus Tuesday. We'll let you know when those happen. Basically, if there's a holiday that falls on a Monday, we will typically do our video Wednesday following that, because we won't have fuel surcharge prices and all that stuff. And you guys, seriously, be careful out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Look after each other. It's really important we're looking after each other. Communicate with your leadership, and they'll take care of you. As always, guys, be safe. Thanks for being here, and we'll catch you next time on Swift Contractors Corner. Be safe, guys.